Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. My name is Crystal. If you're new here, I am a stay-at-home homeschool mama to one kiddo, and on my channel you'll find things like cook with me's, clean with me's. I love vlogging, grocery hauls, you name it. Right now I am on Mondays. I have a series going of homeschool related content. Last week I did how to get started homeschooling. Today we are going to be covering homeschool myths exposed. There are quite a few of them. I'm only going to be covering 5. I might do a part 2 to this video. I'm not sure yet. But today I'm just going to be covering 5, and there's going to be a lot more to come, along with stuff like decluttering the classroom, homeschool supply hauls, what curriculum we're going to be using, how we're planning our year, and so forth and so on. So let's jump right in and get started today on homeschool myths exposed. Now, I do have my iced coffee, and if you've been here, you know I make notes. I am a pen and paper girl. When it comes to homeschooling, I very easily can just ramble on because it's something that I'm very passionate about. I also want to apologize. I know there's a glare of my ring light and my glasses, but the lighting is terrible. As you can see, it's daylight, but there's a lot of trees outside, so you can't really see much of the natural daylight. I tried just opening the blinds, but it just made a really awful glare from behind me, no matter where I sat in this room. So this is how we're going to do it. Now, for homeschool myth number 1. People who are homeschooled are ultra conservative, ultra religious, and want to shield their child from the world. Wrong. Wrong, wrong, wrong. There are tons of families who are secular, don't study any religion, they don't want it in their homeschool, everything is science-based. Our curriculum is a mix of Christian and science-based, just to cover that. But we are using, I almost just told you what we were using. We're going to be using some Christian curriculum this year that we did not use last year, but solely because it was kindergarten, and I just stuck with the super easy, not super easy, but just the basics for kindergarten. I also made a video on what we use for kindergarten. I will link if you have not watched that as well. And then shielding your child from the world, the third part of that. Do I want to shield my child from sex, drugs, bullying, all that stuff? Yeah. Why would I not? When you talk to a parent who has their child in public school, what is the one thing that they worry about the most? Their safety and their innocence, right? Why would we not want to shield our child from that? Now, there's nothing wrong with teaching them about those things, but as a homeschool parent, you get to choose when that time is appropriate. Why would you not want to show them a positive light in a very grim world of how to appropriately handle those things? That's just kind of silly to me. Number 2, most people put this as their number 1, so I purposely put it as number 2, but it probably is the most talked about homeschool myth. If you talk about homeschooling with anyone who does not do it or has no clue how it works, and that is that your homeschooled child will suffer socially. Wrong, 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 wrong. Absolutely not. This myth is so untrue. Being socially awkward does not have to be part of it. Homeschool kids still go on field trips, co-ops, doctor visits, grocery shopping. I I can't take my homeschool kid anywhere without her starting a conversation with at least a dozen people. Like, it literally becomes too much sometimes, and I have to remind her that stranger danger is a thing. She's not shy, she's not awkward, she's not antisocial, like completely untrue. Homeschool kids still interact with a variety of people. But think about it. Do you really want your child to be learning their social skills from kids in public school who you don't know what they believe in, don't know what they value, don't know what they've been taught? Do you want that for your child? Because I don't at all. And I'm not a helicopter mom. She is very unsheltered. I'm okay with her hearing things, and I'm very honest about things. But we also have a rule to where if mommy says we'll talk about that at a later time, we'll talk about that at a later time, because that means that you're not mentally or emotionally ready to hear about those things yet. And that's okay, because she just turned 5 in May. So she's not needed to hear about anything and everything. Myth number 3. If you homeschool, your child will be perfect. False. Now, homeschooling is not a path to a perfect child. There is no perfect child, and there is no perfect human. We all have flaws. We all have places where we fail, and we all have places where we thrive. Maybe some of us have not failed yet, but we will. And maybe some of us have not found the thing that we thrive in, but we will. So expecting a perfect child to come out of anything is absurd. Please do not homeschool for that reason. Homeschooling does give us the chance to lead them in the right direction and show them some paths to take that could be a little more appropriate or well fit for them or whatnot. But you can't force someone to be perfect, and you can't force them to make the right decisions. That is part of our job as parents, is to teach our children how to make the right decisions, but we can't force them to do so. So please don't hold your child to that standard, because it is not fair to them whatsoever. Homeschool myth number 4. Homeschooling is very hard and very expensive. Wrong. Homeschooling is actually incredibly easy. The amazing thing about it this day and age is if there's something that you don't know that you need to know for your children, for their schooling or whatever, let me tell you, my 5-year-old stumps me on a daily basis because her brain works in a much different way than mine does. She is very much like my husband. When we're both very curious about everything, and we both like to know how everything works. But once I get like the gist of it, I'm good. But they both have to know in detail how it works, why it works that way. I have a brother that's the same exact way, and I think it's amazing. So when she asks me questions, one of my number 1 rules in homeschooling is something that I have stuck to this whole time, is I try to never say, I don't know. This day and age, we have Google, we have Alexa, we have Siri, we have all these things that we can just say, let's find out.
I'm not sure.
See? I always try to say, let's find out, or let's look it up. I don't try to say, I don't know. I try not to say, I don't know. And I will do that as well. That's another thing. If I speak incorrectly, I try to fix it in front of her to show her that it's okay, but you need to acknowledge it and correct it. Now, on the expensive part, can homeschooling be expensive? Yes. Does it have to be expensive? No. If you look at it this way, this year we are taking it as we are spending a little more on her curriculum this year than we have before, but she's stocked up on clothes. She might need a few pairs of shoes because her feet have grown like 4 sizes in the last couple months. But we don't have to buy 2 sets of clothes. We just buy clothes. And if it gets stained, those are school clothes, because arts and crafts are heavy in our homeschool. If they're nice and dressy, those are what we wear when we go out. It's a lot easier instead of being like, oh, well, she stained her school clothes, so I guess we have to go buy more because we can't send her to school looking like that. We don't have that problem. 9 times out of 10, we homeschool in our pajamas, and that's okay. We're comfy, we're learning, we're progressing. That's all that matters. When it comes to curriculum, you can choose big box curriculum. There's even places where you can go and just click, my child's going into 1st grade, and they will send you a box with everything you need. School supplies, curriculum, everything you need. It'll cost you about $1,000. Sometimes a little less, sometimes a little more, depending on the grade and what you choose. But it saves you time and energy and money. That's not what I'm doing because I'm too cheap for that. For $1,000, I can buy a lot more than what that box includes. But I mean, you're also paying for someone to do the work of doing it for you. So I understand why it's that way. I'm just saying I personally don't do that. But for preschool and kindergarten, a lot of what we used, like you can see, like we did buy books and stuff, but we didn't finish every single one of those for kindergarten because there were things that she wanted, like for geography and science and stuff. We didn't finish all of those books because there were things that she wanted to learn about, like dinosaurs and stuff like that, like the ocean life and stuff. So we went and we bought sticker books and books that went along with that, and then we went to the zoo where she got to see manatees and stuff like that, and then we went and rode the dinosaur ride at Animal Kingdom because we have Disney passes, and learned about dinosaurs. And I went on Amazon and bought her little fossil kits and stuff like that. That is one of the amazing things about homeschooling. Can it get expensive? Yes. Does it have to be? No. Pinterest and Teachers Pay Teachers. With those two, you can print off a lot of things that are not very expensive at all. Some of them may cost a couple bucks. A lot of them are free, and you can still move forward. And that's not just for kindergarten and preschool. Like in Teacher Pay Teachers and on Pinterest, you can find stuff all the way up to high school that's free if you need it. Would I recommend it all the way up to high school? Not really. But can you? Yes. Between the library and Facebook Market resale and thrift stores and stuff like that, it doesn't have to be a big name curriculum for them to learn. As long as they are progressing, as long as they are learning, that's all that matters, and it does not have to be super expensive. Now, I know someone's going to be like, but you have a classroom. Yes, we do. We have a room that is dedicated to the classroom. It is also used as my office. It is also used as the family dump spot. Like right now, it's a disaster because we're coming too close to the end of the year and it's almost time to start cleaning it up for the next year. And my crafts are stuffed in the closet, and yes, we do. But do we have to have that? No, we don't have to. I do find it easier. I find that she focuses more if she has a designated area. If we choose to do it out here or at the table, if it's just me and her, she will focus fine. But if we have company or if daddy's home or anything like that, then she thinks it's okay to goof off or not pay attention or to want to talk to them or whatever. So we can go in the classroom, we can close the door. That's just how her mind works. But if we had never had that, she wouldn't know any different. So you don't have to have that by any means whatsoever. many, 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 many people homeschool without those things. Homeschool myth number 5. In order to homeschool, you have to be super smart and have tons of patience. Wrong. Very, very wrong. You do not have to be super smart to homeschool. Again, we have stuff like Google, Siri, the thing over there where I can't say her name or she'll answer me. We have all these things. We have books at the library, and we have just loads of resources that just a few decades ago, these people like that homeschooled back then, they didn't have those resources. I mean, they had the library and stuff like that, but it wasn't at their fingertips like it is now. It's so easy. There are, teaching textbooks, I think is the name. You can sign up for, like, say, math, since I just said math. I don't know why that word came out, but math, I guess, is on my mind. You literally don't have to teach them anything. They log in, and a teacher online teaches them their math curriculum. So if there's a subject that you may not be very good at, or you may not fully understand, like, to me, science, I'm learning along with her. When I was in public school, we didn't really touch much on science. Like, we learned about outer space in like 3rd grade and stuff like that, which we're actually doing in 1st grade this year. But like, we didn't get to dissect things. We didn't get to learn the deep-rooted way things work and stuff like that. We didn't have stuff like that. So her being 5, she's already doing some 2nd grade science work, which is, I started homeschooling in 6th grade when I was 12. Went to public school for half the year and then started homeschooling for the last half. I think my mom had like a 7th or 8th grade education, because back in the 50s and 60s, you didn't have to graduate. And a lot of people just stayed at home and worked on the farm. They had big families, and that's just what they did. That was just the thing, especially in the South. I know some people are going to be like, well, my mom went to college. Yes, I know. It did happen. It happened around the country. It happened around the world. But a big thing in the South was people stayed home and helped their families with their siblings and the farm and so forth and so on. So when I was homeschooled, I didn't have what my daughter and I have. I didn't have someone who sat down and explained things to me and helped me with my work and stuff like that. I had to figure it out and make it or fail, but that's just how it was. But you don't have to be some super genius to homeschool your kids. You don't. And patience. Patience is not my virtue. I find that the longer we do it, the more patient I get. The older she gets and the less patient she gets forces me to be more patient. Just trying to teach her that that's not the way it has to be. And in return, also teaching myself. I am not gonna lie and try to be Miss Perfect Patty over here. I am not the most patient person. I'm quite impatient. I have to wait another like week and a half to 2 weeks before I can order our curriculum, and I seriously feel like I have ants in my pants thinking about it. It's driving me crazy that I can't just order it. It's totally okay. It'll be here before school starts. It's not the end of the world. That's just me. Once I get my mind on something, it needs to be done, and it's all I can think about. My OCD kicks in, and I just think about it and obsess about it, and I see that in her. So when I see that in her, it makes me think, well, what would calm me down? What would calm me down might calm her down, so let's do this together. It's a learning experience for everyone. Now, again, I know I've mentioned this in last week's video, but I'm going to mention it again. I know that I can be very passionate about homeschooling. I love talking about it. I love letting other people in on how I think about it. I love seeing how other people think about it. I love literally everything about it. You name it. There's not anything that I don't like about it. So I just want to put it out there for anyone and everyone. I do completely understand that homeschooling is not for everyone. I understand that some people have absolutely no urge whatsoever to homeschool their children, and that's okay. Because I love it and I see the perks in it, doesn't mean that you have to. That's why we have options. Just because I say that these things are what I think and what I feel are better than the public school or private school options that you have, or whatever you choose, doesn't mean that I think that you are wrong for choosing what you choose for your family versus what I choose for my family. I am not and will never be that way. Now, can I explain to you why I think that for our family it's best? Yes. But I will never, ever, ever, ever tell you that you are wrong for choosing a different option for your family. My family is not your family. My family is different from yours, just as yours is different from mine. And it is our job as parents, guardians, and people who love our children to choose what is the best fit for them. And that's what we've done with our family, and that's what I encourage you to do with yours, no matter what that choice may be. And on that note, I'm going to end today's video. If you want more homeschool stuff, remember on Mondays, that is going to be what is going to be going on as far as the series. I think next week is going to be why we homeschool is going to be the main topic of next Monday's video, and I have them planned out for quite a while, and they may just never end on Mondays. So if you want more homeschool related content, make sure you stay tuned on Mondays, and some vlogs will also have it in there. Yeah, that's about it. So thank you guys for sticking this out and hanging out with me today and watching. I hope you enjoyed. Make sure you give it a big thumbs up if you haven't already. Subscribe if you would like to see more, and we will see you in tomorrow's video. Bye guys.